What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Thursday, March 26th, 2026, and I have some breaking news to share with you guys. Right now it is 14:30 Eastern Time here in the United States, and we have some major breaking news coming in from the Middle East. So the Pentagon is developing military options for a final blow to Iran that could include the use of ground forces and a massive bombing campaign. A dramatic military escalation will grow more likely if no progress is made in diplomatic talks, and in particular, if the Strait of Hormuz remains closed. And this was reported by Axios, who cited two senior U.S. officials. Okay, so the U.S. military is preparing for a massive military campaign, a massive escalation. We know that two Marine Corps amphibious ready groups are on the way to the Middle East. The first one is supposed to arrive on Friday. We know that the 82nd Airborne is going to be deployed to the Middle East soon. The commanding staff of the 82nd Airborne has been ordered to the Middle East, and now we're hearing that the 10th Mountain Division is gearing up to go to the Middle East. So this is absolutely huge breaking news. And what would these ground troops be doing in Iran? Well, my guess is that the Marines are going to land on the coastline of the Strait of Hormuz and secure the coastline, maybe also land on the coastlines of Karg Island with all their amphibious equipment and seize control of Karg Island, but at the very least they're going to try to seize control of the Strait of Hormuz. And the 82nd Airborne and the 10th Mountain Division are going to be deployed to the interior of Iran to secure strategic locations like nuclear enrichment sites, missile sites, etc. Okay. And right now, this afternoon, we have U.S. nuclear forces on high alert. We currently have two nuclear war command and control planes up in the air, one over the Gulf of America, one over Wyoming. These planes are responsible for communicating with our submerged nuclear-armed submarines. We also have a high-priority reconnaissance plane on the tarmac at Offutt Air Base, the home of U.S. Strategic Command. We also have several aerial refuelers going over the Atlantic right now, three of them heading over New England right now. This is pretty unusual considering that we moved so many aerial refuelers already. So for more of them to be going over means that they're planning an escalation. And late last night, there was this unusual signal on the primary U.S. nuclear war frequency. I've never heard this kind of signal before. I'm working to find out what it could be. If anybody has any ideas, please let me know in the comments or send me an email. Okay, this is very, very strange. Take a listen. It sounds like static, but if you look at the waterfall here, you can see there's some kind of signal there. And it sounds like a crackling noise, and my radio here at the compound picked it up really well. It sounded like the crackling or ticking of a Geiger counter. There you can see the signal right there on the waterfall. So this is very unusual on the primary U.S. nuclear war frequency. This could be a sign that something big is about to go down. And Fox News reports that an improvised explosive device was discovered at Macdill Air Force Base in Tampa, Florida. FBI Director Kash Patel says that a brother and sister have been indicted for the plot, with one in custody and the other evading arrest in China. Wow, that is absolutely insane. And Axios reported yesterday that Iran rejected the U.S. 15-point peace plan. Okay, so Iran has rejected the peace plan. And the Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi confirmed that there are currently no talks with the United States, and at least 3 congressional Republicans, including chairs of the House and Senate Armed Services Committees, are hinting strongly that a ground operation in Iran is planned and could potentially be underway soon, okay? So Trump's got to do something about the Strait of Hormuz. Oil is back up again today, even though Trump announced the ceasefire and potential for diplomacy earlier this week. The oil's going back up again. The stock market is going down again. So Trump's got to deal with that Strait of Hormuz situation. And it looks like it's going to involve the use of ground forces and a massive bombing campaign. And this update was sponsored by NYPrepper Supply. Guys, NYPrepper Supply is doing a $100 discount on their 3-month emergency food supply. And to get the discount, you got to go to preparewithnyprepper.com. The link is in the description down below. The normal price for their 3-month kit is $800, and they're selling it for $700. That's $700 for 3 months of emergency food, up to 2,000 calories per day for 3 months, and it has a shelf life of 25 years, all packed within rugged, watertight buckets that don't take up a lot of space. You don't have to worry about rotating anything. You don't have to monitor expiration dates. You don't need a massive place to keep all your food. You can fit all this food in a tiny closet in a studio apartment. So use the link preparewithnyprepper.com to get $100 off the NYPrepper Supply 3-month emergency food supply, and the link is in the description below this video. But at least 3 congressional Republicans are hinting strongly that a ground operation in Iran is imminent. And what you're looking at here is the Pentagon Pizza Index. Right now, this afternoon, we have a 357% spike at Pizzato Pizza, just 2 miles from the Pentagon. So maybe something's going to go down tonight. Remember, Trump gave Iran 5 more days. Okay, tomorrow is the expiration of that 5-day deadline. And the Iranian ambassador to Pakistan confirmed that there are currently no negotiations being held between the U.S. and Iran. And Trump administration officials are reviewing the economic impact of oil potentially reaching $200 a barrel. So the Trump administration's obviously concerned about it if they're reviewing the impact of oil doubling in price. And Iran told mediators that Hezbollah and Lebanon must be included in any ceasefire deal with the U.S. and Israel. And the Financial Times is reporting that Western intelligence said that Russia is close to completing phased deliveries of drones, medicine, and food to Iran following secret talks. This would be Russia's first known lethal support to Iran since the war began. Wow, so Russia's giving Iran drones now, lethal support. And Iran targeted Israel's largest power station yesterday, which provides between 20 and 25% of Israel's energy since 2022. Israel said no damage occurred, but video footage showed an explosion right next to the power plant. And the Speaker of the Iranian Parliament, Mohammad Ghalibaf, said, "We are closely monitoring all U.S. movements in the region, especially troop deployments. Do not test our resolve to defend our land." Wow. And Russian personnel at the Bushehr nuclear power plant in Iran have been evacuated following the strike on the facility a few days ago, according to AFP. So if you're not aware, the Bushehr nuclear reactor was actually built by the Russians, and it's managed by the Russians. Okay, so the Russians are evacuating. And 7 Iraqi soldiers were killed and 13 wounded in a U.S. airstrike on the Habaniya base in Anbar. The strike hit supposedly a military clinic and nearby engineering unit. Iraq condemned the attack as a blatant and serious violation of international law, especially for targeting medical facilities, calling it a dangerous escalation. Baghdad vowed to hold those responsible accountable while reserving the right to respond. Wow, so this is no good. This could have been some kind of a false flag, in my opinion, to turn Iraq against the U.S. And an Iranian Shahed drone struck the Kuwait International Airport 2 nights ago, targeting fuel depots, and as a result, a massive fire raged through last night and continues to burn today. No casualties have been reported. And the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu ordered the Israeli military to make every effort over the next 48 hours to destroy as much of Iran's arms industry as possible, according to the New York Times. Netanyahu issued the order following concerns that Trump could announce peace talks at any moment. Wow. And CNN is reporting that Israel is concerned that the U.S. may declare a 1-month ceasefire in order to facilitate negotiations with Iran, citing 2 Israeli sources. And Iran's supreme leader, Mujtaba Khamenei, is alive and has been actively participating in the country's decision-making in recent days, according to Israel's Kan News. And according to CNN, Iran has been laying traps and moving additional military personnel and air defenses to Karg Island in recent weeks in preparation for a possible U.S. operation to take control of the island. So if you're not aware of the importance of Karg Island, that's a major oil facility there on Karg Island, and a shipping facility where they ship out oil. So Trump has his sights set on that. And nearly 1 month into the war, the president has privately informed advisors he thinks the conflict is in its final stages, urging them to stick to the 4 to 6 week timeline he outlined initially, according to people familiar with the matter. And President Trump wants to shift away from the war in Iran to his next big challenge, according to internal White House sources provided to the Wall Street Journal. There is currently a struggle within the administration to determine what Trump will choose, either overthrowing the Cuban regime or focusing on the cost of living here at home. And Trump rescheduled his meeting with the leader of China, Xi Jinping, to May 14th to the 15th, due to the military operation in Iran. And Kuwait says it uncovered a Hezbollah plot to assassinate their state leaders. The Interior Ministry in Kuwait reported that 6 suspects, 5 of them Kuwaiti, confessed to espionage and terror activities, including assassination training. Wow. And the Israeli Defense Minister said that the IRGC Navy commander, Admiral Alireza Tangsiri, was killed. That's a major move by Israel there. And what you're looking at on your screen is a massive movement of U.S. military cargo planes that went to Israel last night. Most of them came from Germany, but one of them came from Poland, which is pretty unusual. So clearly they're preparing for another phase in this war if they're continuing to move massive amounts of equipment. And then here we have a picture coming out of Athens, Greece, showing a bunch of tanks with drone cages in Athens. Very interesting. I don't know what they're preparing for, or if this is some kind of military parade. But you can see all these tanks here with drone cages on them. And then here we have a video released by the U.S. Central Command showing them bombing these what appear to be missile bunkers, completely obliterating all these bunkers here. You can see about a dozen of them, and they get annihilated by a bunch of large bombs. Okay, but here you can see 1, 2, 3. Yeah, looks like about 12 bunkers here. Most likely have missiles in them, and they completely annihilated them. Check this out. And the Houthis stand ready to strike shipping in the Red Sea in solidarity with Tehran, according to Reuters, quoting one of the Houthis' leaders. And Trump claims he is considering calling in the National Guard to manage airport security amid the partial Homeland Security shutdown. And Trump appointed Mark Zuckerberg, Larry Ellison, and Jensen Huang to a tech council to advise on AI and other issues. So it's pretty concerning that Mark Zuckerberg is going to be on Trump's tech council to advise on AI. Very concerning. We know that Facebook was responsible for harvesting data 10 years ago, or actually more than 10 years ago. It's going back like 15 years ago now. They were harvesting everyone's data on Facebook and giving it to the government, to the NSA. That was under Obama. Now Zuckerberg's going to be in Trump's government, so that's very concerning. And Japan will deploy troops to the Philippines for the first time since World War II for an exercise with the U.S. and the Philippines in late April into early May. And one of Russia's new combat icebreakers has been heavily damaged by Ukrainian drones while still under construction at the Vyborg shipyard in St. Petersburg. This was the strike 2 days ago when Ukraine hit that shipyard. Well, it looks like they hit a combat icebreaker. Notably, the facility sits close to where Finnish shipbuilders are set to begin work on U.S. icebreakers. But that's the latest breaking news that I have. I might be back later on tonight with a live update. And until the next time, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps. Prepare, practice, and persevere. And before I continue with the breaking news, I wanted to mention the sponsor for this update, which is Matt Hat Jerky. Guys, if you're a beef jerky lover like myself, you got to try Matt Hat Jerky. This is the best beef jerky I've ever had. I personally met the owner of this company at SHOT Show, and he's actually local to Pennsylvania. This company has an interesting story behind it. He founded this company when he was 11 years old. Yeah, that's right, 11 years old. He's now 19, and he makes gourmet beef jerky, the best jerky I've ever had. He's got over a dozen different flavors, and it's all sourced with U.S. beef, so no foreign beef, no nitrates, and no MSG. So it's all natural American beef jerky. And if you use my promo code NYPrepper, you can get 15% off your entire order. And you got to go to matthatjerky.com, and I'm going to leave a link in the description down below. That's matthatjerky.com, one word, matthatjerky.com. Use my promo code NYPrepper to get 15% off your entire order, and the link and the promo code are in the description down below.